if Wemby is covering him on the block, he's having the time that he's having against Wemby, and he's getting busy against Wemby. Now, what I want you to do, Penn, is I want you to take Wemby off the floor and put Cornette on him. How much less difficult is it for Joker now?
Would it surprise you if I told you that Jokic averages 37 points on his career against Victor Wembanyama, 11 rebounds and 8 assists?
What if I told you that doesn't have nothing to do with
how is he canceling him out? I'm going to say this. Okay, Jordan.
Bro, you got to start.
This is where we say we got to argue some good case.
It would be easier.
If I tell you a dude averaged 37 against the dude, like, what are we doing here?
Okay,
like,
so is the game easier? Hold on. Okay, smart guy. So is the game easier for Jokic when Wemby plays or he don't play?
It's easier, yes.
I would argue.
No, let the smart guy answer.
I would argue that Jokic is a really difficult matchup for Wemby.
What the fuck does it got to do with my question?
Once again, Drenchy. One more time, Drenchy.
The game is actually quite difficult for Jokic when Wemby plays. But apparently, it's not difficult.
Okay, so you want to argue a hit piece. So there we go. So I just debunked your theory. You just want to argue a hit piece to say, oh, look, I'm going to say something to him. Brother, you don't got to do that. We talking basketball. I'm not here to have a takeoff with you guys. You guys love to say takes off. Like, I don't give a shit about that.
Okay.
Let's just talk about what we're talking about. At the end of the day, when Wemby is not playing, the game is easier for Jokic. So that means
if Jokic drops 18 tonight and chokes, and he drops 37 against Wemby, are you going to reconsider that maybe Wemby, despite being a great defender, isn't a great matchup for Jokic? You understand what I'm saying?
2 games. God damn.
Sorry. What do you mean 2 games? What do you mean 2 games?
It's 1 game and 1 game. You just because you said, oh, if he drops 18 today and then 37 the next one. God damn, Penn. Chill out. I'm a chat representative, so I'm gonna. What I'm saying, because he was saying if he drops 18 today and then 37 when they play Wemby, I'm like, okay, maybe it's just very.
I didn't say that he dropped 37 against Wemby. I said he's averaging 37 against Wemby.
Yes,
the brain knows that when Wemby plays, the game is much difficult for Jokic. For everybody, not just Jokic.
Even if he is getting busy,
that's common sense.
With Wemby out there, this shit is a lot more difficult for me.
Why would
even if I am averaging 29, I'm averaging 30 a game.
We're not debating basketball. We debating hit pieces. Like, that's common sense. Anybody knows if Wemby is out there, a 7-foot savant who y'all want to gas, and rightfully so. It's warranted. Everybody knows if he's not playing, the game is a lot easier for everybody. Why do we need to even have a discussion on that?
That's a fact.
Now, Jordan, you right for sure. I just don't think it's that cut and dry when it just comes to
when Jokic shot 46 in the last game. What are we doing here, man?
I mean, but Pin though. Like we all know Jokic is gonna get his. Like we all know, with or without Wemby, Jokic is gonna get his. We know that.
So then, why are we saying this? What is the point?
Because
if Wemby plays, it's going to be way easier.
Okay, you got to do this for point. So if Wemby plays,
it's easier for his teammates. That's for sure.
If Wemby played, the Spurs have a better or worse chance. If Wemby played,
the Spurs have a better chance. Jokic is not going to be stopped whether Wemby plays or not. His teammates are going to be stopped.
Not about stopping. That's the point.
Oh my God.
That's the point. You keep arguing hit pieces instead of listening to what Chill said. That's what I'm trying to get you to understand. You want to argue. Gotcha. You want to argue that.
What did you say? No, repeat your point. You said if Wemby doesn't play, right, Nikola Jokic is going to have an easier night.
The game is less difficult for Joker.
The game is less difficult.
So I'm trying to tell
which
you,
is a fact.
Oh my God! Oh my fucking God!
Okay.
Is this?
I want to make sure I'm following
for you to understand. You said,
Pin. This is. I'm gonna tell you why this is difficult for us to grasp.
Okay.
And this is everybody up here, including the chat.
Okay.
Because Victor Wembanyama is literally the best defender in the NBA.
Perfect.
Now, no, but Pin, I know what you're gonna say. Yes, he's averaging 37 on them. That just goes to show how spectacular Jokic is. But that doesn't mean that it's easier.
No,
it's
no way. Make fights. Fuck.
So
if there's a bad boxer who's just a really bad matchup for Floyd Mayweather, it doesn't mean he's the best boxer in the world. Do y'all understand that? Can y'all
But
understand?
this-
Can y'all?
Yeah,
can y'all hold on?
it's so high.
No. Crash out on the side. Okay,
but we still
can you
disagree,
understand
though.
that just because someone is
still
a
disagree.
great basketball player? No, hold on.
Sure.
Just because someone is a great defender. How about
Right.
this? Can I please have this conversation exclusively with Chill? Okay,
listening.
That's what we was trying to do before you got your
no.
moment.
I want to have this conversation with Chill. Chill.
Sure.
We both agree that Evan Mobley is an amazing defender, right?
I think he's the best defender in the league. But keep
Perfect.
going.
Why did Scotty Barnes give him belt to ass? Bad matchup. He goes into his body. It's a bad matchup. It doesn't mean Evan Mobley's not a great defender. Evan Mobley's an awesome defender. But Scotty is not going to be stopped because Evan Mobley is on the court.
Now, with that being with everything
Styles
that you
make
just said,
fights.
which is everything that you just said is fair. Now, with that being said, take Scotty Barnes off the court. Evan Mobley's night is way less difficult than what it was
because
with Scotty
Scotty is an
Barnes on the court.
excellent matchup for Mobley.
However, I want you to flip that around. As good as Scotty Barnes was against Evan Mobley, even if it is a bad matchup, and Evan Mobley is an awesome defender.
Jared Allen's a
Evan
worse
Mobley
matchup
off
for
the
him.
floor.
Jared Allen is a worse
Wait a minute.
matchup for Scotty.
Wait.
That's what
and
I'm
maybe
saying.
he is, and maybe he is. But let's stay with Evan Mobley, right? Let's stay with Evan Mobley. As successful as he is against Evan Mobley, and as good as he is against Evan Mobley, take Evan Mobley off the floor. Scotty Barnes' night has gotten much less difficult. That is a fact, man.
I disagree. Chill. I would tell you that right now. No,
because
hold
I'm
on,
going
hang on.
up against an awesome.
Okay, hold on, because you don't just get to take people off. If Victor Wembanyama is not starting, Luke Cornett is starting. And last I checked, Luke Cornett is an awesome defender too. Hold up. I would argue that as a primary matchup. Okay, so again, this is a fascinating discussion. Why is Jokic so dominant scoring against the Spurs? Is it because the Spurs think that Victor and Swipey, you've watched all these games, so you might actually be able to help me out because I didn't watch all these games. So I'm going based on what I remember. Is it possible because one, Jokic is actually a really terrible matchup one-on-one for Wemby? Is it two possible that the Spurs are reluctant to help Victor Wembanyama because they think of him as such a dominant defender? But just because you're a dominant defender generally doesn't mean you're a dominant defender in every matchup. We can all agree that if we all agree that Victor Wembanyama is the greatest defender in the league. I think we all agree. I can still tell you that if De'Aaron Fox in Sacramento gets him one-on-one on a pick and roll, he's blowing right past him. Probably.
Sure.
Hey, Penn, so do you
bad matchup?
So do you so you basically what you're saying is the Spurs are better off without Wemby?
That's what he's saying.
No,
pretty much.
No.
Hold on, relax, Penn, relax. I'm just asking you a question. Relax, Penn.
But this is
chill. I'm not Penn. I'm not Penn. Penn.
I don't think that's what you're saying, Penn.
What I'm saying, Penn. I'm not asking that in a sarcastic tone. I'm asking. So yours, because here's the point.
Spurs are worse. Jokic is better. Does that make sense?
What?
Jokic's night is not going to be harder because Wemby plays. Jokic's teammates' nights are going to be much easier if Wemby doesn't play. And if
that's what we were talking about.
If Jokic's teammates' nights are going to be easier, then Jokic is going to score less. And more. You understand that? That's the difference. That's the difference. That's perfect.
That's why I said you shouldn't be arguing hit pieces because you just wasted all of your anger management on nothing that we wasn't talking about.
You said Jokic's night is going to be easier, and I'm trying to tell you his teammates' nights are going to be easier. You understand the point?
This is why
Which makes Joker's nights easier.
That's what I said. Slow down, Penn. You're arguing a hit piece for no reason.
So
we have been saying,
Penn, I want you to.
It's not just about Jokic.
But you said Jokic. You didn't say
no.
The Nuggets.
Hold on, Jordan. Because Penn, I want you to stay right where you just. Because Penn, you just said that if I'm not mistaken, I want to make sure I'm following you. You just told me that Joker's teammates, their night is going to be a lot easier without Wemby on the floor. And you know why? Because that guy isn't at the rim. You know why? Because Joker now doesn't have that guy in front of him as a defensive presence. You know why? So now Joker has much more vision on the floor. Joker has he has a better opportunity to get more shots. He has a better opportunity to get to the rim because I don't have that thing in front of me. On top of me not having that thing in front of me, those guys don't have that thing in front of them. Those guys don't have that guy in front of them at the rim. So Joker is going to make their night easier because of him not being there. I just want to make sure that I'm not losing my mind, Jordan.
No, that's who he is. If Penn just want to hear what he want to hear to say, gotcha, Jokic averaged 37 on Wemby when that's not even the point. That's not the point.
Is the point.
No, it's not.
Is
That's the point.
is
You wanna
Jokic not
make,
only
us.
scoring, or it seems like that's what you're saying? Like you're only mentioning Jokic scoring. What about making his
Everything
assists
else.
easier?
Yes, everything. Because look, I'll paint a perfect scenario. If Jokic go to the rim and Wemby is right at the rim and he pump fakes and Wemby
More
stays on the
difficult
ground
shot.
and it helps.
I'm gonna have a more difficult shot.
Yes, you're gonna have a more difficult shot. Not only, okay, let's say this too. Let's say Wemby is the help defender and Jokic is driving. So Wemby comes over and help. What is Jokic gonna do? Find somebody that Jokic helped off. Wemby helped off of. But take Wemby off the floor.
Take that off the floor.
What does that do?
Boy, that makes life a lot less difficult.
Easier.
That makes life a lot
Wemby
less
is an
difficult.
amazing defender because of the totality of what he does defensively. It does not mean
And
that as a
offensively,
post
good
defender
to know.
one-on-one, he's going to be able to stop Jokic. And if Jokic sees Wemby one-on-one in the post, he's going to put his body into him, move him around, and score on him. That's the
Maybe,
Exactly.
or he might.
That's exactly
might.
So,
exactly what's
so
gonna happen.
since Jokic is a super smart basketball player, when he
Yup.
sees that the best chance for us to score is for me
Yup.
to score, remember what he did to Ivica Zubac? Remember that?
Yes, sir.
When the
Absolutely.
Clippers decided to guard him one-on-one, he had the most efficient 55-point game ever. But
Hey,
here's my question.
Payne, I got a
Ivica
question.
Zubac
In
a bad
that game
defender?
you talking about with Jokic, who won? In that game you talking about with Jokic, who won?
Sorry, what'd you say?
I think the
The game you
Nuggets won that
talking
game.
about with Wemby and Jokic, who won?
I was talking about 6 games.
Pin, I want to make sure that we Pin, stay where you just
Denver
were,
won.
Pin.
The game that I specifically referenced, where Jokic averaged, where Jokic dropped like 46, he won.
Pin, stay where you are, Pin, because you just told me that Wemby
split basically
with-
back-to-back Jordan last year.
even if they did split.
That's
Pin,
what
you
I
just
was
said-
trying to
Pin,
get
you
at.
just
So
said
he
to me,
had
'cause
4
what I'm trying to do,
18 in
I'm
the
just
game
trying,
that they lost,
what I'm
and
trying to do,
46,
Pin, is I'm
9,
trying
and
to get
10
on your
in the game
page.
they won.
This is what I'm trying to do, Pin. I'm trying to get on
Yo,
your page,
stop
but I'm also trying to get you to see it from the perspective of where we are. Like you just mentioned, if he's covering, if Wemby is covering him on the block, he's having the time that he's having against Wemby, and he's getting busy against Wemby. Now, what I want you to do, Pin, is I want you to take Wemby off the floor and put Cornette on him. How much less difficult is it for Joker now?
I think
And
it's
the
more,
Nuggets,
I
not
think
just
it's more
Jokic, just the
difficult.
Nuggets too.
Yeah, I think
To
it's more
score,
difficult as well, but-
and it's harder for his team. It's easier for his teammates to score because Cornette is not going to be as quick to recover. You understand the whole point of Jokic's
Which
scheme
means
is
that life
quickness.
is a lot easier when Wemby is off the less difficult when Wemby is off the floor.
Oh my
Is that-
god! For who though? For Jokic or for the Nuggets? If
All
you're
of
gonna
us.
say Nuggets, say Nuggets.
All of
If you're
us.
gonna say Jokic.
All right, we gotta move on
Okay.
because Penn just arguing something that he want to argue. Like that's not.
So
even,
it would be like if I said, you know what, life is easier for Jordan when Clyde Drexler's on the floor, and you'd be like, Penn, are you insane? Jordan averaged 40 against Clyde Drexler, and I'd be like, but it's easier for the Bulls. Like, what are you doing here?
I can debate. I'm gonna tell you what we're doing because I can debate that by saying that if Clyde Drexler wasn't on the floor, the fucking Rockets wouldn't have a chance. So Michael Jordan wouldn't have to rise to the occasion that he has to do if Clyde Drexler wasn't on the floor.
It's the player choice way. Yeah, them boys don't get it started. The player choice way. Yeah, the player choice way. Come and switch lanes into the player choice way.